I hope you're smiling at home. That is to say, I hope you're not upset, because in this midweek period, there's been more than enough upsets to go around. There are huge midweek rivalries and a big weekend of more rivalry games to come. And guess what? We're going to chop all of it up and break it all down on this episode of College Baseball Now.
Yeah. Ain't no problems, ain't no problems. That one problem with me, no. Yeah.
Let me talk to the chat. They know I was gone for a minute, had to BRB. Had to grab a couple wins with I DID. They sleeping on the kid, I had to do it BIG. I can never be average, and they want a problem with the boy, they don't want no static. I don't need your cosign running with God. Wanna test that, tell them what's happening. Took control, run the game. Best believe I'm shining dog. Counting in my wins, yeah, I love it when they count me out. Off the leash, shut the chain, boy, I been the dog. Best believe I run the game, you know I'm in control of y'all. It's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Beat them up, knock them out. They really don't want no static.
I don't know about you, but College Baseball Now is feeling 22, and we are glad to be with you, our friends, for this excellent midweek episode as we're previewing Weekend 7 on College Baseball Now. Your friends are back, and start with me, your host, your friend, your boy, Drew Wheeler, Director of Amateur Scouting at Prospects Live. So glad to be back with you. Thankful for my buddies on my right on the screen, holding it down for me, as I know they always do. So thankful for them, and want to introduce them. The gentleman in the middle. You were in the middle on the last episode, too. That's a good spot for you. Normally you're top right, but the middle is a good spot for Mr. Josh Catlett. Josh, it's nice to see you, sir.
It's nice to see you, too. Nice to see you back this week. I just want to say that as I was typing out the write-up for this week for the pod, the format, I knew you were going to make a Taylor Swift 22 joke, and I mean, look at the room around you. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to happen. It's okay.
Well, you know, I'm a product of my environment, and that's fair to say for sure. Lots to talk about, Josh. Glad to be back. Wanted to thank you so much for hosting. You've done great, so well at that. Hey, I have a question. I am, for lack of a better word, trying to think of a diplomatic way to say this, exhausted. I need sleep terribly. So, Josh, it's gotten me thinking about sleep. Tell me, what conditions do you require for a good night's sleep?
Cold.
How cold are we talking?
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say as cold as you can keep it, but, like, I could figure it out. Like, I have to have a ceiling fan at all times to keep it cool in there. I've slept with the same type of, like, sheets for a long time, where it's kind of like jersey sheets, if you know what those are.
Yeah.
That's my favorite type, and I have, like, a really thick comforter. I also, like, this is, if we're getting nitpicky, I naturally sleep like a dead person. Like, I sleep with my arms crossed like I'm in a coffin. I don't know why. So like a pillow or like a stuffed animal or something, like having something there is like, I don't know. That's how I
Oh, between your arms and your chest, you mean?
Yeah, I guess. Like, I get my friends like snipe me all the time, taking pictures of me if I fall asleep on the couch. Like, if I'm taking a nap, I will take a nap and I'm like this, and my legs are crossed or something. It's really bad. It's concerning, but it's comfortable.
I get it, because like when I think about like a good like couch nap, especially if like I'm just up there with no dog, like arms crossed like this is just, man, that's clutch.
Yeah,
it's clutch.
Yeah.
So I get it, and I'm definitely not going to knock you for the cold either. I think I would have it at like between 60 and 64 to sleep in my house if Mallory would allow it. So it's scientific that it's better for you to sleep in the
upstairs here right now. We keep it, if it's like warmer like right now, it's between like 67, 68, and in the winter it's like 63, 65-ish. But back home, if my mom is controlling the thermostat, it's like 72 at all times, and like I can't keep my ceiling fan high enough in my room back home. It's ridiculous.
Mama Catlett and I might have to have some words if that was the case. Or, I mean, well, I won't get into that. I won't get into that. I was about to say I may be walking around the Catlett house with a little bit less clothes on, but nobody wants any of that. Coach Jake Bargery, it's so good to see your smiling face, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, Drew. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. Hey, I heard an interesting fact from a little bird I know earlier. His name is Jake. No relation to you. Arcadia on a 7-game win streak. Hello?
We are on a 7-game win streak. We got to play some games at home. We're doing it at home, on the road. Everything feels like it's kind of coming together at the right time. We're in like our second weekend of conference play, and everything's looking good. So we love to see it.
Yeah, we do. I think the world's biggest podcast supporters of Arcadia Baseball, us for sure. So, I mean, as the official podcast of Arcadia Knights, I think we're all aboard as you guys are just mowing them down. So keep it up. Jake, curious, tell me about the sleeping conditions you require. Are you kind of simpatico with me and Josh here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's got to be cold, which is not too hard of a task up here most of the time.
It's true.
Sometimes the heat or whatever isn't working, and that's a-okay when it's time to sleep. I keep a fan on me. We don't have ceiling fans, but I keep a fan on me all the time. The AC's going when it's warm out. Like it's got to be cold. It's got to be dark. I like for it to be very dark when I'm sleeping.
Okay. So a buddy of mine this past weekend told me he was like, no television. A phone light can't be too bright even if somebody's like on their phone while like I'm trying to sleep. So are you that kind of like just total dark?
The phone, not necessarily. I mean, I don't think I would notice that too much, but I cannot sleep with a TV on. That's just not.
Okay.
I used to when I was in like high school and stuff. So occasionally I would fall asleep with the TV on, but now I can't do it anymore. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. Good to know. For those of you at home, if you can't gather, I like it extremely cold. Generally speaking, there is a dog. Barney sleeps very close, like to my side at all times. So he is like a little miniature heater. So it has to be cold, and only in like peak coldness do I ever even sleep with like the duvet. So it's normally just the sheet and the blanket. But we're getting far too detailed on sleeping. I think we ought to talk about a little bit of college baseball, but let us know how any kind of sleeping requirements, if you have any odd ones at home, would love to hear that. All right, guys, midweek. So like we said in the intro, ton of stuff going on, a lot of interesting games, a lot of interesting results, at least from Tuesday slate specifically. Let's go ahead and start breaking it down, guys. Talking first about a rematch of a game that I called a couple episodes ago a top 5 game of the season for me when Mississippi State traveled to Hattiesburg to take on Southern Miss. Of course, now in reverse, Southern Miss coming to Starkville for Duty Noble Field on a Tuesday night. Curious if you guys had any outstanding thoughts leading into this, because as I said to my buddy who was with me there, Luke Maddox, shout out Luke, I said, you could have given me 100 opportunities to guess how that game would go. I don't think I would have named the outcome that we received, Josh.
It's funny you said that because someone like my friends or people that I know that like are big into gambling, they were talking about the lines and everything, and the total for that game was 12.5. And
wow,
before the game,
what a lot!
I know. Before the game, when I was talking about it with them, I'm like, they're two high flying offenses. Like it barely got over that number last time, but at the same time, like I feel more confident in like going over with this game. Afterwards, I'm like, never in a million years did I think that bet would miss. That bet would be chalked because of a run rule, a 12-0 run rule, and just one team get completely blanked. Like never was that even in the range of possibilities for me. But I guess like as you've talked about, that's what that home field does for Mississippi State.
Absolutely. And what a segue, Josh, because I think, before we came on the air, the three of us were discussing for you at home how I don't think it is appropriately discussed in any form of national media, especially college baseball media. And that's kind of the most concerning part. What the effect of a stadium like Duty Noble has on an opposing team, even in the midweek. Guys, I think it was like 105 people shy of 13,000 in that park on a Tuesday night. It's insanity. And everybody invested. The cowbells, I mean, everywhere. guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I took my buddy Luke's cowbell and I gave it a jangle. It's a
That's
I think
valid.
Tennessee could. I know. I think that Tennessee could incorporate like a hand played instrument of some kind into its celebrations. But Jake, Josh put it really. He put it really succinctly and really well. These offenses are high flying. Southern Miss. I'm going to tell you from firsthand experience, with one or two exceptions, lost. Like they were completely out of their element. And I'm curious, how much of that do you think was Duty Noble's effect?
I mean, it definitely could have played a part because, like, I was looking at their schedule as you guys were talking about that. Like, outside of like the Round Rock tournament, like Southern Miss hasn't really played in like a very big environment. So, like, that could definitely play a part. I mean, going into an SEC stadium in general is not going to be easy, but much less that one with all the crowd noise and all the other shenanigans they got going on during the game. But yeah, I mean, I could see where that could have played a factor for sure. But like what, Joey Urban, he had a couple hits.
Yes.
Gillespie, Eubanks, they had like a double, but like there was not much offense going on. They didn't draw any walks. They struck out a ton. Like, I don't know. They just all seemed kind of rattled, especially at the plate.
One thing I'll add, if I can, one thing I'll add is that, like, if we're going to talk about this, like, it's very easy in sports to blame a poor road team's performance on, that like atmosphere. Mm-hmm. I think it could have played like a legitimately big role here because not only could Southern Miss not get on base or anything, they kind of got on base at like a relatively fine rate. Like, I think they got 6, 7, 8 hits somewhere in there, if I remember correctly. They were on base. They're just like timely hitting, and like when you could feel the situation like getting kind of tense, like you gotta get it, like you gotta knock one across, you gotta get a man over. They just couldn't do it. And like the pressure of having someone on base, time running out, that kind of thing. I think like that situation could have really gotten to them more than just like a, no outs, no one on kind of hitting situation. They seemed to do like relatively fine in those. It was just like when the pressure got big and that crowd started to kind of like get on their feet a little bit more, that's when things fell apart.
And that's so accurate. It really was. You could see Urban specifically, I think he rose to a level that impressed me just beyond the television screen, if that makes sense. Seeing that atmosphere and knowing, because like you said, Josh, I'll stop just short of calling it lazy analysis to say that you can't just blame it on the park. These are, right. These are established quality baseball players playing for Southern Miss. Dude, we've talked about them all year. For the better part of 22 episodes, we've talked about Southern Miss and talked about what a quality team this is. But, dude, looking at their results, Jake, you kind of led into it a minute ago. They've lost 2 of their games at home. At Pete Taylor Park, 2 games lost. The other 4 have come on the road. Maybe it's – and that's not to say that Hattiesburg isn't just an outstanding place to play either, because, again, we've talked all season about how they are rowdy. They get into it. Maybe it's just – I don't know. To me, it's just a very interesting thing to note how when the shoe's on the other foot with the rowdy fans not being in your favor, how that went. In terms of specific performances, though, for Mississippi State, I'll tell you, there's a couple of names at the forefront of my mind, but the number one that I think I'm going to be asked about more than anybody is going to be number 24, Jack Bauer, obviously. Guys, I led into it before the episode telling you that I did a little bit of digging, looked into the presser. Bauer has been working with Coach Parker, pitching coach, trying to distinguish and identify and then correct some delivery issues that I think really plagued him, because if I'm not mistaken, the last time we saw Bauer was Round Rock. I haven't looked into that specifically, but that was what I gleaned from memory. So either way, in seeing him last night, the release points seemed much more consistent. The delivery was a little bit smoother with Bauer, because there definitely was some. He's a freshman and he's up there just hucking it. So he's needs polishing, needs refinement. But I think it's interesting for him, especially. And Jake, will go to you on this one. This kind of thought, to have so much hype at such a young age and to be almost looked at as one of this staff's, I guess, leading guys. The reaction to when Bauer came into the game was, buddy, it's almost like this is our guy coming in. Like this, it might as well have been prime Craig Kimbrell coming into the game for this Starkville audience, man. They were ready. It's a lot of pressure is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean it is a lot of pressure. Like we've done interviews with kids before, and that's kind of something that a theme that we kind of ask them, like, how do you deal with the pressure of like the scouts coming to your games and like the going to these showcases where you're performing in front of all these professional scouts and everything, and like it's kind of the same thing. I mean, he's still pitching in front of the scouts. It's just he's pitching in front of thousands of other people at the same time. Like, it's exciting as a fan to get to watch him come in. But it's also like it's got to feel reassuring for him to know that like he just going out there and getting outs the way that he did the other night, and like he got the strikeout and he had another clean inning after it. Like it's just got to be building a little bit of confidence in these midweek games, and they're obviously, it feels like they're just trying to prepare him for the biggest stage when he gets the opportunity to start and all that kind of stuff. So I couldn't imagine the pressure he's feeling though.
Absolutely. I have some concerns with Bauer. I don't want to just get into all of it because I do think people should go to prospectslive.com and pay that very low price of $7 to read the thoughts that'll be in live look form here soon. I have some concerns, some interesting things that I need to dig a little bit more into, but he looked great. And as always, it's fun to see a guy who goes out there and just hucks it. The slider, by the way, I don't think I'm giving anything away to say that pitch playing off of the fastball velocity is just disgusting. So many swings and misses on that. It's a weapon. It's a weapon. But I'll give you guys. I'll let you pick, Josh. How about this? I will drone on about one more Mississippi State player. We can talk either about Ace Reese or Jacob Parker. How about that?
I'll talk about. Let me think. I think Ace Reese is the big one because I mean you quote tweeted or not quote tweeted. Someone else just quote tweeted my bracketology with just stupid comments, and it's got me that. Anyways,
that's okay.
You tweeted about Ace Reese and just how polished he looked last night. And it's been over the course of the entire year. He's just been ridiculously. I think polished is the best word for it possible. Yes. Honestly, I mean, like, I personally didn't think he'd be the type of guy that would be running these ridiculous numbers. He has like a 348 average to this point. Mm-hmm. So he kind of dropped off a little bit from the beginning of this year. He was hitting like over 400 for a while, but he's just such a polished guy, and like he gets to his power so well. And I think that's like a guy he's raising my draft boards. I'm gonna put up my updated top 50 next week, and he will see a rise from where he was preseason for me personally. I just think that guy has such a future. It's such a beautiful swing, and he keeps his barrel to the zone so well. It's a sight to watch, honestly.
I agree completely. Polish is certainly the word. And I'll say this. I saw a lot of players last night that I would say are professionals. They're professionals. Maybe there's varying level of professional, but professionals. Reese was the one I looked at and said, he is the professional's professional playing on this field right now. He's the guy. And that's everything from the way that he positions himself prior to a pitch, the way that he's readying himself in the on deck circle. Everything about him is, like we said, polished. That was my biggest takeaway, is that there is nothing raw about this gentleman right here. I was deeply impressed. And before we go any further into the next game, I'll say this too. Jacob Parker is absolutely unreal. He has got grown man power and absolutely yacked the ball. And I think it hit a guy in the head. I'm pretty sure that guy might be dead. Either way, we will move on, though, to another big-time game because off in the great state of South Carolina, Coastal and Clemson faced off. And, Josh, I'm going to go to you here to lead us off because I think it's fair to say that questioning Clemson was not only a valid thing, but a smart thing after the last couple games. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and coming into this game, I was thinking that, like, Clemson, ironically, I'm going back again to the people that were asking me for gambling advice. I'm like, I wouldn't take Coastal here because Clemson they need a get right spot so bad, and this is the perfect spot to do it. And they had it. They were up, I think, 9-1 at the most, and it just crumbled right in front of them. It was ridiculous. It was Talon Bell was one of the guys who got just lit up. I forget the other one, but it was within the same inning. And there was like a 5-spot put up around the 7th inning, and Coastal just kept slowly chipping back. There were fielding errors that Clemson kept messing up on towards the end there. I think the number one thing I'll take away from this, though, isn't even as much of like an anti-Clemson thing. Because granted, yes, the bullpen looked bad and Coastal hit them around a little bit at the end there, but it's a midweek. That's the whole reason we all ever talk about like disregard midweek results is because of the pitching. But if I'm going to talk about the bad side of the pitching, I think the good side needs to be mentioned too for Coastal Carolina. Darren Horn was electric. He went in there and closed out that game with 3 innings of, I think it was 6 strikeouts. And the sinker was so beautiful. He was dotting up guys. Just like on TV, you can see the movement on those pitches, not even just the breaking balls. It was the fastball. You could see the way it broke. It was glorious to watch, honestly. One of my friends from Clemson, one of the guys I interned with this summer, was manning the center field camera at Clemson for that game, and he was texting me like, dude, this Darren Horn guy's electric. I'm like, yeah, you're telling me. There's a reason he's been this good for a couple of years. Like, he's one of their best guys, and if that team is going to continue to hold their own without Cam Flukie and Hayden Johnson being there, that elite bullpen that we saw last year helped them win 26 straight games. They got to keep this up.
Absolutely. Well said. Jake, looking at Coastal, I think earlier in the season, I don't want to put you guys in this boat. You may agree with this, though, Jake. I think I almost wrote Coastal off in a sense. Not that they were going to be a bad team, but just you take these huge cogs from the machine, and how does that thing run? And I don't know. It's almost like they're kind of making me wish I'd have kept those words soft and sweet because I'm eating them now.
Yeah, I think we were kind of right in feeling that way that you were talking about, like not in a sense of like writing them off and thinking that they were like done, but kind of just there was major questions when like two or three of your top arms go out, like, you know, how do you respond to that? And I think we questioned that, rightfully so, but they also have answered the questions, like you know, the way that all the guys that, you know, Josh just talked about stepped up into roles, and the guys they're going to need going forward, like that's what they've done. They've answered the questions, and they've come back and they've filled the holes that Flukie and Johnson, the other guys, have left. But also, like, offensively, they've performed better than I think we expected coming into the year. Like they got, you know, Trace Mazon, Dean Mijos, those guys. Rex Watson's over 1,000 OPS. Like, they got guys that are hitting and they're contributing. Like, they're not like the most efficient offense like in the country or anything, but they're getting the job done, and they're backing up the pitching the way that the pitching needs them to be backed up right now until they, you know, while they're still trying to figure some things out. But I mean, I like what I've seen out of Coastal, and they've definitely been better than I think what we thought once we heard all the injuries and all that kind of stuff. So I like what I'm seeing from them.
I'm definitely with you there, Jake. Let's kick it to game time really quick for both of you. Let's say, as of right now, with 1 being I have no faith whatsoever, 10 being this is a national championship threatening team, like a contender for a natty. Where are you, Josh, with Coastal as of right now with their current roster, 1 to 10?
I don't know how to answer this question about either of these teams, to be honest, right now. As it stands right now, so like I'm not counting Flukie and Johnson.
Right now, because I'm getting somewhere with this. Going somewhere.
3, 2,
Jake,
3.
Jake, same question.
I may go a little higher, but not more than 5. I mean,
okay.
4 is probably where I would land with it.
Okay. So to have seen them come back, and like we said, offense is delivering. The bullpen is stepping up. When you add Flukie and Johnson back into this mix on top of what we're seeing, Josh, what does that score do?
I'll say like a 6, maybe high. See, I'll say like a 6. The reason why it's not lower is because I don't think it can be overstated how good Cam Flukie really is. Now, assuming that he'll come back 100%, even with the injury, I guess we can't fully assume that is true. I still have him within my top 4 or 5 of my draft board because I think he's still that good regardless. But the reason it's not higher is also because this is like a stupid cop-out thing, but I just keep it in the back of my mind. I remember talking about this in the offseason. Mid-major teams that do super well the year before and go deep into postseason do not do that the next year, no matter how good they are. It's just not a thing that happens. And they were in the championship series last year. So, like, I don't know if they can do that 2 years in a row. And so that thought just like sticks in my mind. I had the same philosophy for LSU preseason, and that seems to be working out pretty well.
I was
So-
about to say you may be on something, Swami. Jake, same question to you. When you get back Fluky, you get back Johnson, that 4 score that you gave them currently, how does that improve for you? Or does it, I guess?
It definitely improves when you got a guy that you can run out on a Friday night game and feel really good about. You know, if you can tell your offense like, hey, get us 3 runs, and you're probably going to be all right for the game. Like that's got to feel good. I mean, it improves to probably around where Josh was at. I mean, I'll probably put it at like a 7. I guess it depends on because if we're talking about them coming back, like in the postseason or whatever, like they're going to be able to go on some sort of a run in like a regional. Like they're going to need those guys. So if you have them in that situation, I'd probably. Getting game 1 is the most important. Let's say they get game 1 with Fluky. I think that I'm fine putting them at like a 7.
Okay, cool. So my point, and you guys collaborated that point without knowing where I was going with it. So thank you both in advance. The check is in the mail. I think that what we're seeing is to handle a team in Clemson who is certainly, I'm going to say they've disappointed me, but they've certainly had questions. But still a quality squad. Clemson is a quality baseball team. To come in, beat Clemson, to come back and beat Clemson, let me rephrase that, I think shows that Coastal is not just a team that's going to roll over and die until they get Fluky and Johnson back. So I think there's onward and upward for this Chancellor's team. So anyhow, let's roll forward, though. We've got one more game we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail with Oregon State and USC. Jake, I think if I would have said to you, USC is going to be 24-2 as we sit and talk on March 25th at the preseason. I think several people would have been like, South Carolina's going to be good. What are you talking about? And no. I'm talking Southern California, buddy. Although, I don't know, midweek game, Oregon State 12-4. Not what you want to see if you're a fan of the Trojans.
No, it's really not. And this was kind of like a really weird game where we got stuff that we hadn't really seen out of USC yet. Like, mainly I'm talking about we've really, deservedly so, we've really praised their pitching staff, and they've completely earned all the praise that they've gotten. But this was a poorly pitched game by USC to be. I mean, I know they're using the depth of their bullpen and all that kind of stuff, but in this entire game, they had 1 strikeout to 8 walks and 12 hits. Like that's not what USC does, or that's not what they have done this year. And
No.
as much as, and we've also talked about in the same sense, like we've talked about Oregon State's offense not being an elite offensive group, and they did that to them. So this was definitely a weird one. I'll say that.
Jake, 2 points to make, kind of piggybacking with yours that I'd like your thoughts on. Not only was it 1 strikeout to 8 walks, that's spread over 10 pitchers used on Tuesday. 10 pitchers, my boy. Coach, that ain't ideal.
No, I'm looking at it. Ben Cushney was the guy that they got the most out of. 2 innings, only one base runner, but everybody else was either allowing a hit or they're walking guys. Like I don't know. It was, like I said, it was weird. It was a weird one.
And again, just to further cement this point, the most groundouts that any pitcher got in this game, 2. Brother, nothing was going the Trojans' way in this game as it come to pitching. Not a thing, bud. Just a sorry for, and like you said, they have gotten a ton of well-deserved praise for their pitching rotation this year. Well-deserved, and they do deserve it. This was just not it, Chief. Not it at all. Josh, going to go to you because the pitching woes did not start nor stop with USC. Mason Pike with Oregon State hurt, only got through a third of an inning, buddy. What do we know about Pike and his injury?
It seems like he re-agitated some kind of injury that's kind of been keeping him out for a while, from what I can tell. This isn't 100%. I just saw reports here and there. He threw to, I think, 2 batters yesterday, and he retweaked something in his arm and got pulled immediately. So I don't know exactly what it was, but it's upsetting to see, to say the least, because That's a guy that had potential. That's a guy that was supposed to be one of their better relief arms. Now, granted, coming into the year, I would say there were 4 of their relief arms that I was pretty high on. So were most people, and 2 of them closed out the game yesterday, throwing a combined 4 innings. So they're getting good work out of some of those guys. But Mason Pike was supposed to be a big staple of what was seen as a top 3, 4, 5 pitching staff in the country. It's just he just can't stay off the injury report.
It's unfortunate. We could say that about several quality pitchers across the country, but like you said, with Pike, he certainly was being looked at and I guess relied upon here in Beaverland as one of the guys you can really, really count on. Has not been that thus far this year, but obviously it's a long season. Still hoping that we can get some quality innings out of Mason Pike as the year rolls on, right? I'm sure you're with me on that.
Of course.
Let's go to the worry meter, though, really quickly. I know that we're not going to get super in-depth on what does this mean for this team who has lost this midweek game. We're not going to do that anymore. We're sticking off of that path. But with USC, I don't know. The alarm bells are not quite ringy-dingy yet, but I think there's a guy getting the hammer ready to strike, Josh. Where are you at on the worry meter with USC?
I'm going to say like a 2, and here's why. Because I think anyone who follows the sport in any way whatsoever can tell you what is the main strength of this USC team. It's the starting rotation, right? It's an undisputed top 3, top 5 rotation in the country, and none of them threw tonight. Now, I would say it's a 1 because of that, but the reason why it's a 2 is if you're thinking like long-term postseason, unless they were to sweep through a regional, if they're going to a Game 7 on a Monday, they're not going to have one of those 3 first starters, and they're going to have to throw out something like kind of we saw yesterday. So that could be a little bit of an issue. That said, that the starting rotation might be good enough where they don't need a Game 7. They could just run through. They could win 3 games and run through a regional. But I think you just have to have like just an ounce of concern because of what we've seen from this compared to the first 3 and their primary 3 guys.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. Jake, same question to you. The worry meter for USC, I'm sure you're kind of in the similar boat with Josh, but just going to ask you the same thing. Where are you at with USC? How much are you worried?
I am in a similar boat with Josh for pretty much all the same reasons. Like it can't be understated how well they've pitched on the weekends with their starters being able to go so deep into games where it takes a ton of pressure off all the bullpen. But the other reason why it could possibly be it's not a 1, maybe it's just a 2 instead. It's like if they haven't shown any signs of running into any trouble, like Edwards, Govell, Johnson. Those guys haven't shown any signs of running into any trouble yet. But if they do, like let's say there is a shorter outing, like do they have the lineup that can really keep the pace with a team that's that might jump one of these starters at some point in late in the season? Like they haven't hit for a ton of power. The averages are kind of low. Like Jack Basir's doing well, Adrian Lopez, Maximo Martinez, like the key guys in their order are hitting well. But let's say Mason Edwards only goes 4 and gives up 3 runs to UCLA. Like, how are they going to respond if something like that happens, right? So, I'm not too concerned because, like I said, they haven't given us a reason to be concerned yet with the starters. But that's what's keeping it from being a 1 versus a 2 for me, I guess.
Very good. Really quickly, Jake, are there any hitters on the Oregon State offense? I know Josh kind of led to it a minute ago. We've criticized them, and I'm not ashamed to say it because this offense looked awful at times thus far this year. We've criticized them, but I think it's about time that we gave them a little bit of credit as well. They've brought it together. I mean, we can't knock them for putting up 12 runs on USC. I mean, that's a top 15 team, no matter where you're looking for at this point in the season. I mean, Jake, shout out one of your favorite Beavers is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think it's Bryce Hubbard. I mean, I think he's the guy that stands out the most above everybody else. Not just because he's got the numbers, but like the way he kind of got that game started against USC with the big homer in the first inning. He just kind of gave him that spark that kind of set the offense to get them started rolling. So Yeah, Bryce Hubbard's going to be my guy. He's got the most homers, highest OPS. He's just the best hitter right now, so it's him.
Word. Josh, crazy. We're talking about Oregon State. It's not like today their fan base gave you any guff. I'm going to give you 1 minute on the clock. You can complain about that. Go.
All right. Well, I think people that read my Twitter stuff don't look at everything I put in the caption, and it's very frustrating because I very clearly in the bracketologies that I post say this is
10
not
seconds.
stands right now. It's a prediction. All right, I'm doing good. And Oregon State fans just every week there's a new fan base that gets upset with stuff, and Oregon State fans were the one today for whatever reason because they're like, oh, why aren't we hosting? We should be a host. Like they're looking at Warren Nolan's predicted RPI saying they're going to be a 9. Well, guess
30
what? Y'all
seconds.
had 6 quad 1 opportunities the entire season probably. If you go 3-3 in quad 1 the entire year, I don't think you should host. That's just my opinion. And you're gonna it's March 25th right now. You have at the most 2 quad 1 opportunities the rest of the year, both against Oregon, who you already want. Fair enough. Like I don't understand the thought process behind. Like I don't care what the number's going to say at the end. I'm not doing this stuff based on Warren Nolan. I'm doing it based on what I think is going to happen. Look at that timing.
1 minute, 0.4. Well done, sir. Well done. Okay. Yep. Hey, well done. All right. That's awesome. I'm glad that we could help you get that off your chest, Josh.
It's just even like during this, there's a Northwestern State account that quote tweeted me and it's like, oh, we're just ignoring the first place teams now. Cool. Can you not read? I think Lamar is going to be better than Northwestern State by the end of the year. Like so, they're also tied. Like it's not like they're all 8-4. It's some people. We got to take their social media away. I don't get it. And people are saying that about me. Like, I'm aware. That's okay.
People saying to take your social media away are just
that.
They're depriving me of some of my favorite content. I need them to watch it, is all I'm going to say. All right, Josh, we're going to stick with you because now we're at our favorite time of the show. We're about to get into Pick'em, and I need you to walk us through how it went last weekend because, Jake, if I'm reading this right, you have had the Pick'em weekend of a lifetime, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
speak up.
You guys did really good in the non-conference, right? But once we get into the games that actually matter, this is just how it's going to be. I'm afraid this is just how it's going to be.
I appreciate the confidence. That is super awesome. Josh, walk us through what happened last weekend before we get to picking them tonight.
All right. Well, Jake went a season high 7-1 on the week last week.
Lord.
I went 5-3, gaining a game on Drew, who went 4-4. JB went 3-5, losing a lot of games to Jake, who surpassed him. And our guest, Josh Salguero, went 2-6 last week. So I think it's pretty clear who the better Josh is at this kind of stuff. I think we just need to keep that in mind at all times. On the year, I'm kidding. I love Salguero. On the year, Drew is 28-19. I'm 1 game behind him at 27-20. Jake is 25-22. JB is below 500 at 23-24. And our guests are a concerning 6-10 in their games they pick. So we need someone to get on here and go like 6-2 or something just to get them back to 500.
If you think you are that guest on the Prospects Live draft team, on the amateur team, speak up because, man, we're going to need them. I guess on the private, on the individual guests board, Dodge went 4-4. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. 4-4 for Dodge, so he's still in that lead. Not that we have anybody challenging that lead today. It is just 3 of us, and of course, while we wait on Mr. Sebastiano to return to the podcast, we have his picks as well. So, Josh, I will entrust you with sharing his picks and his logic as well. I'll let you assume his logic, or if you want to do it, if you want to do a JB impersonation, maybe that will insult him so badly that he thought he shows up for work.
Whatever it takes. I think he hates us now. He's gonna blame it on technology, but I don't buy it.
I don't know, man. My phone just wasn't. Anyway. All right, getting into the meat of it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. It's gonna be in Oxford. Mississippi State at Ole Miss. Jake, not many rivalries not many rivalries, I guess, at least where I'm from. You're familiar with this area. Feel as serious at any given point. It could pop off in the middle of a store, in the middle of traffic, like Mississippi State and Ole Miss can. What do you think is going to be the deciding factor for this game as Ole Miss hosts its one of its most dangerous opponents it's faced this year?
Yeah, I think this is it being at Ole Miss also makes this very interesting because I think most people would look at Mississippi State as kind of a heavy favorite at this point, especially if it was going to be in Starkville. But the fact that it's at Ole Miss is makes it a little bit more interesting. But I think one of, if not the biggest storyline that's going on right now, is the fact that Ryan McPherson is very doubtful to pitch this weekend. He went down, I think I saw it was a forearm injury last weekend, and I think they said that, I don't know how long term this is, but I think they said they were very doubtful for him to pitch this weekend. And obviously the thing to watch is who's going to replace him. I have a couple names. This is me just completely speculating, just myself.
Bring it,
Charlie
Coach.
Charlie Foster has a start this year. He's gone 12 innings, a 5.11 ERA. Brendan Sweeney also has a start this year, slightly lower ERA, 13 innings. Tyler Pitzer, he probably, I wouldn't expect him to be the guy. He's a South Carolina transfer. He's a big relief guy for them. I think they're probably going to want to keep him out in the bullpen for situations. So I guess it would be Foster or Sweeney. But Tomas Valencias was awesome last weekend. 7 innings, 2 hits, 14 strikeouts, and 1 walk, no runs. Duke Stone didn't have his best game last weekend, but he's been solid for Mississippi State this year. The bullpen only allowed 2 runs all last inning. So, they have the backup, I think, to potentially make up for McPherson. But, when you have your reliable, you have your Friday night guys, the one you send out there every weekend in game ones, and he's not going to be there, it's something that, it's something to watch for sure.
Coach, do you have the roster still pulled up for Mississippi State by chance?
I can get it in one second.
Do that because I have a question about Sweeney specifically.
Okay.
Last night, talking to my boy Luke about who was going to start, because we're discussing McPherson's injury, on the car ride home. We had the exact same 3 names that you pointed out, so I'm glad to hear that we're simpatico, Coach. I think it's going to be Sweeney. So, do you have it pulled up? Do you have him? Are you looking at him?
I have the roster pulled up with his name on
okay.
it.
Is Sweeney 6'8", or is my mind playing tricks on me?
He might be. They have him listed at 6'7", 210 pounds. That's what they have him.
First of all, thank you. Second, let that hoss go out there on Friday night. Let the big dog eat is all I'm saying, man. Holy moly. You got a guy 6'7", put him out there. Anyway, put him out there. Josh, going to you really quickly about this one as well. I think on the flip side of this, as many questions as we have about McPherson for Mississippi State, one of the most inconsistent pitchers this whole year has been Hunter Elliott. And I think Ole Miss, this is the game. If you want to set any kind of tone, knowing that you've got Valencias on Saturday, Hunter Elliott's got to show up, right?
Yeah, but if we're being honest, I think of the 3 guys they could try out there on Saturdays, I think right now I have the least amount of question marks about Hunter Elliott, as weird as it sounds. Because if we're going to talk about starting pitching injuries, I think that's as much as it sucks and it sounds lame for this rivalry, for the biggest thing, storyline surrounding it to be starting pitching injuries, it is. And Jake touched on the Ryan McPherson side of it. The Cade Townsend side of it's still very prevalent.
Yes.
They don't know if he's going to be back or not on Saturday. Hudson Calhoun pitched in his place last week, and he wasn't great. He's great in long relief, but he's not great as a starter, it doesn't seem. Will Libbert has been rough lately. He's allowed 4 or more runs in 3 of his last 4 outings. He has a 6.41 ERA on the year as a whole and 26 innings pitched. Hunter Elliott's still doing, he's getting himself back to normal a little bit. He's got a 3.48 ERA in 31 innings. He's striking out 33% of batters. That's a little more like it. It is inconsistent. As a whole, that's a little more like what we're used to seeing from him. But the other 2 spots are really questionable. I don't know if they're going to throw Hudson Calhoun back out there. I don't know if they try a guy like Taylor Rabe, who's been really good this year. I don't know what they do. Or if they need Rabe in a later relief spot, like a long relief spot. I don't know. But I think that for just as many question marks as we can sit here and speculate about Mississippi State, what they do in their starting spots, I think Ole Miss has just as many questions. And it's, ironically enough, not about the guy who the entire year to this point we've been talking about what's going on with him.
Fair point, Josh. Well said. I think that honestly, Townsend's injury it's going to be interesting, man. Because really, what do they do here? It's going to be an interesting weekend at Swayze Field. Man, I wish I did not have some plans because that's just a quick little jaunt down the road. Anyway, it's all good. It's all good for other people to do. Josh, we will go to you first for the pick. I'll ask you to pick for JB as well. And if you want to do an impression with his logic, by all means, I'm not stopping you.
See, I can't do a JV impression. I don't know because I feel like he's just so like mellow on this podcast.
He's super mellow, yeah.
And that's the issue. Unless he's just like, I don't know. Here's an issue though. I'm gonna say this before it might spoil it for y'all, but for the people that don't know our picks, it spoils nothing. Throughout this entire year, 6 weeks of us doing picks at this point, I went back and looked. There has not been a single time the entire season where 2 of the 4 of us have perfectly aligned on all 8 picks. That changes this week because somehow JB and I have the same exact picks for every single game.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how it happened because I thought I was going contrarian with a couple picks too, but he's in the same area. So with the first game, we're both going to take State. Top to bottom, both of these lineups have seemed to be pretty good, but I just trust Mississippi State's a little bit more, and I trust that bullpen depth just a little bit more with all the questions there are going on with the starting rotations.
I understand. Jake, 2 Mississippi States on the board already. Is the graphic in danger with one guy having talked?
I'm going to go Mississippi State too, for pretty much the same reasons. I do like the fact that it's at Ole Miss. That makes it really, really interesting. But I like Mississippi State's offense better, and I think they're going to be able to put up more runs than Ole Miss is. So I'm going with them.
Yeah, I don't want to lopside the graphic. I don't want to upset my buddy Scott Smith. I don't want to take Swayze Field out of it. Well, I think I'm gonna have to ruin it. I'm going Mississippi State, man. There's the questions being what they are. I still can't make it make enough sense not to choose Mississippi State, even on the road, even in the huge rivalry game. Josh, going to go back to you for this one here. NC State, Georgia Tech, 2 of our most highly regarded ACC teams squaring off. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Catlett, we just got word today that we're going to have boots on the ground at this game. Hello?
This is true. I'll be making my first trip to Bus Chandler Stadium. I've never been before. I'm excited. I'm going on Saturday, which should be a interesting pitching matchup because I like Jacob Duden a lot. He should be their Saturday guy. And Dylan Lloyd struggled last week a lot, and he's been iffy on the year to this point. So I'll be excited to see how he can bounce back against a, solid-ish lineup, although the bets really haven't been coming through lately for State. So maybe if Dylan Lloyd performs the same kind of way he did last week in that Saturday spot, maybe this is a get-right spot for NC State because, boy, do they need it. I mean, guys, besides Chris McHugh, Ty Head, freshman Rhett Johnson, a lot of the other guys have been struggling a decent bit recently. So could be a get-right spot. Tate McKee hasn't been great this year either. There's opportunities here for NC State to turn things around. So it'll be fun. I'll be intrigued to see if they can.
Interesting. Jake, going to go to you. Georgia Tech, I think an opportunity like this to take a win over such a quality opponent in conference. Do you think this is a series that Georgia Tech can afford not to win? That's my question. That's a little bit of a clunky question. I think you get what I'm going for.
I think they could afford not to win it. Looking at the long term, it's still early in conference play. If you're just talking in general, can they afford to lose the series? Yes, but it's not one that they want to lose. I think that's one that they're fully, expecting to win. They're playing. They're coming back home after going to Pitt last weekend, where it was kind of a weird weekend for them, where like Josh talked about, McKee and Loy both got pretty roughed up in their starts. And that Pitt team they have some guys on that team that can hit, but at the same time, you're this Georgia Tech team that's top 5 team in the country, you think they're going to go up there and take care of business, and they kind of didn't. Luckily, the offense picked up a lot of that slack for them. But still though, like at Vincula, he was 7 for 16 last weekend. Carson Kersey 6 for 13. Like their entire offense is still hitting, for an OPS over 1,000, like we've talked about, and average over 300, except for Drew Burress, which is crazy. But the offense kind of proved that it can win games for them last weekend, but the pitching showed that it can also lose games for them. So, I mean, I think, they can – to answer your question, I already said it, that yes, they can afford to lose it, but they don't want to, obviously.
All right, word. Jake, we'll stick with you then to make your pick. NC State, Georgia Tech. Who takes it?
I got to pick Georgia Tech. I still trust the hitters, even if the pitching doesn't completely get the job done like they didn't last weekend. I trust the offense to keep it going, so I'm going there.
Well done. Josh, you alluded to it a minute ago. You and JB are kind of lined up with every pick. What are the two of you going to say here? Are you going to take the get-right game for NC State?
I got a bad feeling there's going to be a lot of sweeps on this graphic this week. JB and I are both taking Georgia Tech. I assume his logic is similar to mine. Even though NC State has a clear starting pitching rotation, especially Friday and Saturday, I think the discrepancy in how good those bats are for Georgia Tech compared to NC State, especially over the past 3-4 weeks, is way too jarring for me to feel comfortable picking NC State in the spot.
I love that word jarring because it has been almost different teams in a sense. Anyway, no, you're right. You said it. Got to take Georgia Tech here. This graphic is going to be something, but
it's going to be easy for me to make. I'm just copying and pasting logos down this thing. It's going to be super easy.
It will be super easy. I'll tell you what will not be super easy is the matchup on hand for both Oklahoma and Texas, two of the top teams in the SEC, butting heads, a long-time rivalry with these two squads. And Josh, I'm curious if you'll walk us through what you think the deciding factor, the biggest X factor of this series will be.
The bottom of the lineup for Oklahoma to this point in the year has, just to be blatant with it, it sucked. Like, really bad. And going up against I'm sorry, it's true. And going up against for what my money is the best pitching staff in America, if they don't get it together a little bit, then you're making me laugh.
I'm sorry, but that was just awful.
It's true. Look, you want me to?
It's true. But bring the numbers. Bring the numbers.
All right, so guys that are typically like in the 69 spots in some way. Jason Walk to this point in the year is batting .261 with a 613 OPS. He has one extra base hit to this point in the year. It is March 25th right now. One extra.
Yeah, but how many walks does he have, Josh?
That part I don't know, but I can find it for you.
It's in the name.
Oh, well, that's okay. He has at least one walk. I can tell you that much. I know. I mean, second baseman Kyle Branch is batting .218 with a 676 OPS. Nolan Stevens is batting .273. He only has 3 extra base hits to this point. Like, I don't know. There's just nothing. What's a word I'm looking for? There's nothing appealing, to be honest, about like the bottom of the lineup. And when you're going up against Ruger Riojas, Luke Harrison, Dylan Volantis, and then beyond that ridiculous bullpen, at least their top guys in the bullpen, I don't know. I'll be shocked if they can get through a couple games. That's spoiling my pick a little bit, but I feel like that's really not much of a surprise anyway.
You're gonna flip on your head and take Oklahoma. I can't wait to hear why. Jake, Josh was talking about it. Texas's pitching staff has been loaded, but man, we can't look past Oklahoma. They have had some killer pitching themselves this year, huh?
Yeah, they've had some good and some bad. LJ Mercurius has been awesome this year. 187, 33 innings in his 6 starts, but last weekend, Cam Johnson had another bad start. Like the control hasn't been there in his last 2. Teams are able to kind of take until they get a strike or maybe even 2 strikes, and it's not a problem for them. But that is a problem for Oklahoma, and they need him to figure that out quickly. And he's not going to have an easy task of doing that this weekend. But Cord Rager, he's been fine in his role. The bullpen was pretty much rock solid against LSU, and I think that's very impressive to see, like, as much as we've kind of talked about how LSU was like uncharacteristically how they've not been good this year, but like the Oklahoma, they went into Baton Rouge, they lost game 1, crazy game from Kassan Evans, really good pitch, really well pitched game for him, but like, you know, they came back the next day, they battled in a really close one, got the win, they battled in a really close one the one after that, and they got another win and got the series at LSU. And no matter how LSU's playing, that's not an easy thing to do. So like Oklahoma, they need Cam Johnson to figure it out and get in the zone. But Mercurius, Cord Rager, they've both been, especially Mercurius, has been really good this year.
Absolutely. Jake, we will stick with you. Let's hear your pick, Oklahoma or Texas.
I'm going Texas. I'm afraid this is potentially another sweep for us, but I like everything about Texas right now. I'm going them.
It's hard to argue with them. Josh, the moment has come. How are you going to switch it up and pick Oklahoma for yourself and JB?
I am not. We're both going with the Longhorns. I will say, I just thought about this as we're talking. The two of you will know what I'm talking about probably. We've talked for the past 4 or 5 months about when we get to the Red River Rivalry Series, how we're going to talk about how Jason Walk and Aiden Robbins, who's going to play in the grass the best out in center field. You know, I'm gonna let people speculate whatever I mean by that, whatever they want to. But we mentioned that like months ago. It's a shame JB.
We sure did. Oh my gosh, we sure did.
I just thought I'll let people speculate whatever they want, whatever they think I mean by that. But I had to mention it before the time passed.
I'm glad you did, because honestly, I had forgotten all about it. But dude, these are two guys who we've said it. We know they can play. When they get out there, they can get silly with it. So it's going to be fun to see what they do as the Red River rivalry crosses over. Going to be awesome. On a less funny note, I am going to take Texas. Boring graphics, smart play. Texas is just one of those teams, man. How do you pick against them right now? I'm not going to. All right, moving on. Let's talk some Big 12. Lord, it's been a whole episode we hadn't talked about my boys in the Big 12. And speaking of my boys, Arizona State, it's finally time. The world has seen them for what they are. After a huge series with Kansas State, offensive explosion on both sides, they're going to host the Mountaineers of West Virginia, who have been one of the Big 12s, and dare I say, one of the country's most surprising and potent offenses to go behind the pitching masterclass by Max Yell. Josh, going to go to you. Who are you and JB picking in this one, and why?
We're both taking Arizona State because, I mean, frankly, West Virginia's been a solid team this year, but Arizona State has just overperformed what I even thought they could. Cole Carlone's been phenomenal. Landon Hairston has been ridiculous, batting .452 with a 14.24 OPS and 10 home runs. Donovan Longo, Austin Roliga both look great too. I mean, like, Alex Overbay and Cole Clicker probably need to pick it up a little bit behind Carlone, but I trust them. I trust the lineup as a whole way more than West Virginia's. West Virginia doesn't have much of a power lineup, and behind Gavin Kelly, Matt, and I can never pronounce his name, and Paul Schoenfield, there's really not much beyond that they've really showed this year. So I trust the top to bottom of Arizona State more than I do WVU at this point.
Well said. Jake, who are you picking in this Big 12 collision?
I'm also going to go Arizona State. But, West Virginia is a team that we haven't talked about hardly at all, I don't feel like, on this podcast. And, one thing I want to mention, Max Yell, Sunday starter, 6 starts, 32 innings, 44 strikeouts, a 189 batting average against, and a 0.84 ERA. He's nasty. Nice. That's not a great setup for me saying that I'm going to pick Arizona State, because I am, but he deserves to be shouted out.
Yelled out, if you will.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm just going to shout out Big 12 one good time here at home. I'm big fans of what I've gotten to see out of the Big 12 thus far this year. I think that if West Virginia could needle out either Friday or Saturday, they can do this. Because Yell on Sunday, I think he's got the stuff to shut down this offense. Because we've seen Arizona State, when they are met with a dominant pitcher, they can be tested. But I'm really tempted here. Give me West Virginia. I'll break it here. Give me West Virginia. I want to say, these are my children you're making me choose between, Mr. Catlett, and I don't appreciate it.
Me?
But I'm going to pick West Virginia. This is all your fault, Josh. I'm picking West Virginia, but this is no knock on Arizona State. Tremendous. And I'd say, two of certainly the top four, the top echelon of the Big 12 right here going at it. Speaking of the top echelon in something, top echelon of teams in Alabama, perhaps Auburn and Alabama. Really quick, Josh, what is Alabama going to have to do to take this game? And I'm talking like, give me 1 sentence. This series, for it to go Alabama's way, what are we going to have to see?
1 sentence.
I think I've got it.
You go for it then, because I don't know if I can boil it down to 1 sentence.
Tyler Fay repeats last week's performance over the weekend. So he pitches 3 games like he did last week. Perfect.
Well, I don't know. I think Bama's got a better shot than that, but like, I don't know. I don't know how you bounce back off of a no-hitter. So,
perfect game.
Something, if I can go in like actual something important for this series, Eddie Madrigal is going to come back probably in full force for Auburn this weekend for the first time all season. He's been kind of like he's coasted in on a DH role for a little bit, maybe in a pinch hit role for about a week. I think he might be fully back in the lineup this weekend, so I'll be very interested to see how that plays out and how the lineup construction kind of works.
I assume you and JB are going to go Alabama then, right?
You don't need to come to me for my pick on this one. I think we can move on.
Fair. Jake, what are you thinking, man? Auburn, Shirley here?
First of all, it's hilarious. You just basically tried to beg Josh to say anything good about Alabama, and he just couldn't do it. Like, me and you were Tennessee fans, openly Tennessee fans, and we don't like talking great about Alabama. Yeah. But, like, you basically tried to pry one single sentence out of Josh about Alabama, and he couldn't do it.
I know. So, Jake, I need you to be the rational and unbiased host I know you are, and say something good here. Sure,
I'm not gonna pick Alabama, but one thing that I did notice last weekend, like, we've talked about the offense being the LeBron show. Like, they actually had some guys step up outside of the really good pitching that they had, like Brady Neal, Bryce Fowler, John Lim, Brandon Holt. They all kind of showed that they might be able to carry a little bit more of the load and take a little bit of that heat off of LeBron to make it seem like it's not just like if he doesn't hit, then the team is not going to score any runs. So that was kind of promising for them. But that's my one good point on Alabama, so I'm going to take Auburn.
Can I make a point on Bama too while we're at it?
Sure.
This is not me doing an Alabama hate bit. Like, I truly just think like this needs to be said because people don't talk about it. This has not been a very good defensive team this year. If you just watch them play, they are not very polished on the defensive end. So if they don't figure that out a little bit, I don't think they have much of a shot this weekend either, but they very well could. There's a lot of potential for those guys. It's just been like weird spots here and there that they're committing terrible errors. We saw it early in the year against, I think it was Oregon State. It just keeps happening. Yeah, and you're going to laugh at me for hating, but it's true. I just think
I'm not going to laugh at you for hating. I was actually going to tell a funny anecdote because that will take the place of the interest. Because this is another sweep. I'm going Alabama, or I'm going Auburn. Jeez, well, I was going to say because the story's about Alabama. A friend of mine last weekend was saying, "How's Alabama's team this year?" I said, "Mm-mm." And he goes, "But they have Justin LeBron." I said, "Yeah. What else?" I said, "This is a devastatingly bad team." Unbeknownst to me, as I'm saying this, Tyler Fay throwing a no-hitter. So I looked very silly for my friend when we checked the scores later. I was like, well, I'll be. So anyway, Auburn sweep. Let's go quicker through these next couple guys. East Carolina, UT San Antonio, Josh. What's going to be the deciding factor in this one, and who's your pick?
I would say that something's got to give for these two teams. There's certain things they both did really well. First of all, both teams have a lights-out reliever, Sean Jenkins for East Carolina and Sam Simmons for UTSA. How both teams utilize them in whatever spots they want to put them in, I think will be very interesting, both at sub-2 ERAs. But I think something's got to give on this side because East Carolina starters don't walk guys very often. Like Ethan Norby as he's been this year. Only a 7% walk rate. Sean Jenkins don't walk guys either, even out of the pen. UTSA takes really good at bats. They have a really good approaches, it seems like, and that's part of what makes their offense so good. Like Caden Miller, 22% walk rate this year. Lane Hayworth has an 18% walk rate. It's just a matter of who plays that side better. I think it's a really little nitpicky thing that I could play a big role in this series.
So what's the pick for you? What's the pick for JB?
I'm actually wait. Okay, no, we are. Okay, yeah, we're both going UTSA. For a moment, I had a moment there. I forgot. I thought he might have taken ECU. I'm taking UTSA. That offense is just significantly better.
Very good. Jake, what's your pick here, Coach?
Yeah. I want to pick something different from them, but I'm also going to go UTSA. ECU, they had their most reliable starting pitcher this year, Gavin Van Kempen. He goes down last weekend. I haven't seen any reports about how long he's going to be out or anything, but I think it was an arm injury, and arm injuries of any severity isn't anything to play with. So I assume he at least probably misses a start or two at this point with the way these injuries have kind of been this year. Also, UTSA's 9-2 at home. I really like their offense, especially against ECU pitching staff that's down one of their top guys. So I'm going UTSA.
Man, what a boring selection. You guys took my 2 notes that I had prepared for this series, and we're all picking the same team. Boring. UTSA, a sweep again. All right, Jake, we're going to go to you for Tennessee and Vanderbilt. The Volunteer State implodes as we've got 2 of the SEC's teams who need to answer some pivotal questions in a big weekend series in Nashville. Jake, curious, who are you taking in this one and why?
You think I'm going to get a Tennessee-Vanderbilt series and not take Tennessee?
I knew who you were going to take. I just needed to hear
I'm going to pick Tennessee, but I will talk about them for just a second. They had a little bit of a scare again last weekend against Missouri. I mean, they won the series, but it wasn't the way that you kind of expected them to win it. Game 1 was a weird one where the pitching kind of let them down, and nobody was able really to keep any runs off the board. Second one, Mac, Appenzeller, Rudy kind of took care of business. But it was close till the very end in that one. And then in the third game, Evan Blanco was fantastic, 7 2/3, 1 run allowed. But it was kind of the same story as we've been talking about all year for Tennessee is especially in the first 2 games, only one guy had multiple hits in the Friday and Saturday game. The first 4 hitters in the series, no matter whatever combination that they used, they hit for a 214 batting average and had 1 RBI in the first 4 hitters on the weekend.
Horrible.
On the year, Henry Ford's got good numbers. Blaine Brown's ran into some homers, but just an inconsistent offense at some point is going to come back to get them. But it's not going to be this week. I'm going Tennessee.
Josh, it's your turn to say nice things about a team from Tennessee. You can pick which one, but I know who I'd pick if I were you.
Okay, I am going to take Tennessee here, but I think it's
all right. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I think it's more of a anti-Vandy thing than it is a pro-Tennessee thing, and that's not a knock on Tennessee. It's just I wouldn't bet on this. I don't believe 1 ounce in this Vandy offense right now. There's just nothing appealing about it whatsoever to me right now. They take pretty good ABs. They're walking at a decent rate, but they're not hitting the ball well whatsoever, as simple as it sounds. Also something else that should be mentioned, they've moved to more of an opener role on Sundays, it seems, because as it was announced last night, Austin Nye is officially out for the year. And Connor Fennell and Wyatt Nadeau are pretty much established as the Friday, Saturday guys, it seems. Nate Taylor hasn't really worked out on Sundays. They're kind of trying different things there, trying out a guy for an inning and moving on. I don't know how sustainable it is long-term in the SEC, to be honest. But that's partially why I'm down on Vandy as a whole, but a lot of it's the offense. They just haven't been putting up good numbers at all, and the bottom of that lineup drops off a cliff, it seems like.
We have to see Tennessee's offense find a consistent grouping, a consistent order. We have to. We're running out of time for that offense to find an order, stick and click. Because if not, then we're reaching critical mass, I think, with this offense is what I'm getting at. The pitching has been, for the most part, very trustworthy. I can say that for myself. Jake, I'm sure you'd agree. It's been the starting pitching, let me choose my words carefully here. Starting pitching has been very trustworthy for the most part. So it's the offense, but I'm going to go Tennessee as if you didn't know that already. Josh, really quickly walk us through Oregon and UC Santa Barbara. We're going out west. some folks from JB's neck of the woods going to be playing as Oregon takes on one of its toughest tests outside of conference in UC Santa Barbara. What's the story? Who are you picking?
I think both the starting rotations and the top of their pitching staff is the story, because that seems to mostly be the strength of both these teams. Drew Smith and Angel Laya are performing really well for Oregon, both with OPS is over 1,200. Angel Laya is batting 334, actually. And on the other side of that, UC Santa Barbara's offense has been bad, to say the least. But I don't know JB's logic. I am taking UC Santa Barbara, and literally the extent of my analysis is like just upset pick, and I can see weird things happening. That's all the analysis you're getting. I have no competitive – UC Santa Barbara has no competitive edge over Oregon, in my opinion. But baseball's a weird sport. And this was my pick. I was just trying to be a little bit different. Like, maybe I didn't expect either of you to pick Santa Barbara. And lo and behold, JB took them too. But I probably could have seen that coming from the, whole Santa Barbara, Southern California, whatever thing.
The connection was there. The lines were in place, or the dots were in place. It was up to us to connect them. Coach, curious where you're going to go here. Oregon certainly have some guys that are playing incredibly well, but Santa Barbara does have this cat pitching on Friday nights. I'm not sure if these folks at home have heard of.
Yeah,
that's a joke.
It's
Jackson, Florida.
they do have that one guy, but I'll keep it short. Oregon looks really good right now. They're 7-2 to open. Big Ten play. They're coming off a weekend against Northwestern where they scored 36 runs. Not that I think this UCSB pitching staff is much better than the Northwestern pitching staff, but they scored a ton of runs. The ball was flying out of PK Park last weekend. They had 11 homers. Hellman had 4. Ryan Cooney had a couple. Ryan Kucharak hit 500 on the weekend for Northwestern, by the way. But I like what Oregon's doing. And then one quick shout out though for UCSB. Go check out Will Dodge's live looks for the UC Davis UCSB game he went to, where Flora pitched. Mm-hmm. Excellent work on his end there. It's very much worth a read. Great stuff from Will. But I am going to pick Oregon. I mean, obviously, I have to think that UCSB is going to have a clear chance to win the first game with Flora, but I like Oregon in the long run, so I'm going with Oregon.
I love that shout, Jake. That was going to be my point to bring up, is that if you read Dodge's analysis of Jackson Flora, you know that he is elite. And I'll say this, I am pretty sure that he and I are simpatico 1-to-1 on where we're holding Jackson Flora in this class right now. So, Jake, I know you know what I'm talking about. Josh, I think you have read this as well. I think you know what I'm talking about. Flora is special. I think that UC Santa Barbara can win on Friday, but I think Oregon's probably going to take it. And this is coming from a guy who has been incredibly critical of Oregon this year. I've been so critical, so harsh on Oregon. I don't know that Santa Barbara's offense is going to do enough to stand up to them, especially over the Saturday-Sunday stretch of this series. So I'll make this one Oregon, and I'll side with Coach. We'll split it 2-2. How about that? What a boring graphic, but I like the way we're playing here. It's going to be a good weekend of baseball, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Tell you what else I'm looking forward to. Coach, why don't you tell these people where they can find you between our episodes of College Baseball Now and what you're working on, sir?
You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Barge. There's not a ton of things that I'm actually currently working on other than getting some live look stuff done. The mid-major top 30. It's been a crazy busy week. I haven't even gotten it out this week yet. We've had a lot of schedules and stuff moving around with Arcadia and just a ton of other stuff going on. But I will be getting that out before this weekend's games, and I think this weekend I may try to get out to Rutgers, Michigan. There's a good chance I could get out to the Friday game, get some take carry action. That'll be fun. But yeah, that's what I got planned.
Would love. Sounds great. And congrats again to Arcadia. 7-game win streak. Hey, keep it up. Keep it up. Josh, where can the folks find you at home between our episodes, and what are you working on, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at JoshCatlett3. Posting the same stuff typically, although I've finally gotten to the point in my life. I've heard people, podcasters, whatever, talk forever about if you're putting out content of any sort, every fan base thinks that you hate their team for a different reason. I think I've finally gotten to that point where every fan base thinks I hate their team. So go check out my stuff and see if I inevitably hate your team because I sent them to a too tough of a regional or their 1 seed line too low. Just go check it out.
Chances are you do hate my favorite team because you didn't have them hosting in your most recent bracketology. So
that is true, but it's also this is the first bracketology I have put out where Tennessee is not somehow conveniently going to the Chapel Hill regional. So the end of
you had to quash that one way or the other. I'd hate for Chapel Hill or for North Carolina to have to visit Knoxville in a regional. That would be devastating for them. Anyway, not that it would bother you. Not that it would bother you, Josh. You don't care anything about UNC.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. If you're interested in following me between our episodes, you may do so on the Twitter machine, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, at DrewIsOK. Going to be working, as you may have guessed earlier, on a Live Looks article covering Mississippi State Southern Miss from last night. What a wonderful game. Awesome time. I appreciate you joining us on this episode of College Baseball. Now, I want to advise you again, check out prospectslive.com. Memberships as low as $7. You can get all these live looks we're talking about, plus tips, tricks, tools, lists, ranks, and all the things that you need for your baseball fandom. Want to encourage you as well to drop a comment down below. Let us know which series you're most looking forward to. But that's going to do it for us today. For Jake, for Josh, for JB, I'm Drew. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Remember to be nice to yourself and each other. Bye-bye.